Let's do this. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Finsweet Live. We're not sure what to call these yet. Finsweet TV, is this part of the growth podcast? Is this just like a new live segment? We don't know. We're just experimenting with multimedia, having a lot of fun, chatting with folks from the community. So, what's up, Joe? Today we're going to recap kind of everything that happened over the last week. We're going to talk a little bit about the attributes launch. We're going to talk about the conference vibes in general, product announcements. I mean, it's been one hell of a week. We're going to talk about just kind of our feelings as takeaways, things we liked, things we maybe didn't like. We'll ask the community to get involved like we always do and kind of share their thoughts as well. So anyway, what's up, Joe? What are your opening thoughts here?
A lot of excitement. That's what I'm feeling right now. And I think a lot of people are feeling the same thing. There's just so much good news, so much positive energy over these past few days. So I am ecstatic.
Yeah.
How are you? What are
I'm
you feeling?
I kind of feel like Riley said it here. He goes, let's see, what he said. I've never had this much of a withdrawal from a virtual event. So, and I think this happened
Yeah.
last year or not 2 years ago in San Francisco, where like the event ended and you were just like, that's it. That's all we got.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
where's my people at? Like it was just you spend so much time hanging out, especially in person, and this year online. So I think some of the connections were a little more intimate. So
hmm
I don't know. I think that's probably the fun of it to me, right? Is having those connections, getting to chat with folks, getting to know what other people are doing, and there's just this real sense of camaraderie in the air when it comes to NoCodeConf stuff and the no-code community in general.
Absolutely. And amazing how it happened virtually. I know it would have been a completely different experience face to face. But it's amazing that we're saying this and it was virtual. We actually did not meet face to face. So, yeah, big win all around. That's really exceeded my expectations. I said it yesterday. I'll say it again. I'm still feeling it. My expectations were here. The conference came in above those.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
having a snafu with my little graphics here. They're not showing up. I wonder why the
Mm,
my little titles just jumped off the screen here. Oh, there it goes.
nice.
Okay. Colleen's got a what's your favorite virtual moment? So we've got Colleen in the background working on some live notes for us there. So one of the things we're experimenting with is the production quality here. So we'll see how that plays out. We'll see how the titles work. We've got some stuff prepackaged for you. Where do we want to start? Let's start by saying what's up to everybody in the crowd with us. So let's take a look over here and let's see who's okay. Let's see. Mark Tiedman's in the house. Jeremy LaRue, what's up? Penny, Riley Jones, we already mentioned. Charles, Alan Connor, what is up? Gabriel O, Federico Valla, Alan Connor, Michael Rose, what's up, everybody? Kyle Pitticelli in the house. What's up, Kyle? Yo, I mean, this has been some kind of fun. I guess it goes to show like how many people are out here and the whole conference in general. I was a little surprised that we didn't get like a trending on Twitter. Like I was so surprised with
Mm,
all the activity on No Code Twitter yesterday that there wasn't like a I don't know. I expected it to kind of see it on my trending sidebar for a second there, because it was like intoxicating on Twitter,
yeah.
like
Oh, a
bouncing
lot.
back and forth between the screen and being like, okay, we're in the conference, we're talking to so and so, we're learning about this, and then going to Twitter to see what other people are saying, and then there's like this little FOMO where you're like, am I missing something better on one of the other stages? And then you jump to the other stage and you're back and forth. It's like, oh, it's so
Yeah.
much. It's kind of
Yeah.
like of this frantic, exciting, and then especially the keynote, like after the keynote, I think for me that opening keynote, the production quality was so great.
Mm.
The vibes like early on in that keynote, I was like, yo, are they about, I think I sent you a message like, are they about to announce Logic? Because they kept saying like, I don't know, I saw the
Yeah.
little bubble, users, overlapping data, and this other thing. And I'm like, they're for sure about to say Logic here. And so I think everyone everywhere was just buzzing. So again, I don't know, just a little hungover from no code comp vibes, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And think about the difference from the first no code conf. The the difference in the content, the difference in the production, the difference in what was delivered at the conference. This was a huge difference. I remember at the first No Code conference, there were some people complaining about the content, that the content
Mm,
wasn't relevant enough for them. It was a great time. Everybody loved the first No Code Conf, but some did have this content issue. I don't think I heard one negative thing about the conference, including content. There was content for everybody. There were so many stages and so many opportunities to go and do what you wanted to do.
yeah.
Just like you said, you could be on Twitter having a great time. You could be on the stages having a great time. You could be in our gather having a great time. And that is awesome. That type of experience, I think they really nailed it.
Yeah.
Especially when comparing to that first time. I mean, oof, that's where we met.
Yeah.
That's our famous first meeting.
And I want to say, I think that like the first conference, they kind of threw together pretty quickly. Like I
Yeah.
remember, I mean, actually, I have a unique take on this because I actually interviewed for head of community as they were planning this, as they were like looking for somebody to come in and basically take on this planning process. And it was so wild to me because it was like 3 or 4 or 5 months out from the conference, and they're like, "We're going to do this conference," and they were still looking for the person who was going to kind of plan and own that effort. And so I have to imagine it was pretty much a whirlwind for that first conference. And I think most of the effort went into like making sure all the stuff on site was worked out and that everything was kind of like ran smoothly in person. That the content I kind of think went to the side. Whereas this year, there were more folks from the community, I think, presenting. They had a
Mhm.
lot more time to plan. Being
Yep.
virtual, I think, gave everyone like a level playing field as it relates to who and what and planning and seeing like who was going to present and being able to go back and watch. I think the videos are already live and up online. So I think just I don't know, just two different formats, same kind of vibe after. I think both of them. I walked away NoCodeConf 2019 not knowing where it was going to go, but very excited about having just experienced all this with the folks in the community. Same thing this time. I'm not sure where all this is going to go. If 2 years from now we've made as much progress as we did from 2019 till now, then I think
Mhm.
this is going to be kind of wild because where a lot of the folks in the community who were presenting today, like I listened to Lacey on one of her like NoCodeConf TV talks. She was talking about like the impact of getting an opportunity on Twitter, getting a couple shout outs from Vlad
Mhm.
and how that impacted everything. And I think there's a lot of folks that could say the same thing who were at NoCodeConf 2019. I
Yeah.
almost didn't go. Like I didn't really have the money to take a flight to San Francisco at the time, to pay for a hotel. Like San Francisco is a very expensive city. I just didn't have the money to do this. And I was talking with my friends and they're like, you can't not do it. You literally just talk to us all day, every day about Webflow and they're having a conference. Like you have to go. And I just felt this. I'm like, okay. And then things worked out. Like a buddy of mine was able to hook us up with a hotel. We traded like video services for a hotel in San Francisco. So we ended up not having to pay. And I think I got into the conference free because we were doing the community stuff. And so I think they comped our ticket as a meetup leader. So all I had to do was pay for an airplane ticket. And that's how I was able to get out there. And the trajectory from that date till now has just been unreal. And so to think
Mhm.
where so many people in this community who are catching momentum and doing their things and getting, into that mode where like, I just see this up and to the right trajectory happening. And it's super cool to watch that all take place.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I love how you talk about the what's it called? Really the journey, the improvement over this time, how much the this process of meeting people has been refined. So yeah, that's really exciting. Let's get into specifics.
Yeah.
What was your most exciting announcement from Webflow? Of all the things that they release, what was the thing that you heard and said, "Whoa,
It,
that's it."
it has to be the logic tease.
It's got
It
to be the
has to be
logic.
like
Yeah.
that's the big walk away I think for everybody.
Yeah.
Um, the memberships is cool. I think the
Mhm.
memberships we talked about this yesterday. The memberships is kind of the base layer for all the other stuff I think they want to do. Authentication, allowing users to log in. So now we'll start to see some of that customized and personalized experience in Webflow. But the day you can start adding business logic and start like when the user interacts with the screen, then do this. If they fill out a form, then do that. If they're here, or if, like, even if I don't know how. layered the logic is going to get, but I have to imagine eventually, if the user's been to this page and this page, can you do this? Or if the user's been on the page for more than X amount of time, do this. And like, once you start getting into those kind of things inside of Webflow, like you really start opening up a huge level of potential for people who create on the internet. And that to me is just like, that's some next level shit.
You said it the other day, business in a box.
Mm,
With the clonable infrastructure and you add this logic on top of it, you can create a business starter kit, not just a website template, a business starter kit. Imagine setting up a new restaurant owner who just knows how to cook. They don't know the business side, they don't care about that. You can come in as the superhero with this business in a box for a restaurant, and you have a plug and play system that's going to properly put people on a newsletter and follow up with menus and discounts. This is a real potential game changer on this logic stuff. So yeah, of course, that was an easy question. Of course, that was the big
that's the
announcement.
mic
That
drop moment.
just yeah, it really is.
What
It really
I'd like
is.
to hear from the crowd too, because maybe, and Joe, I'm going to ask you the same question. Was there anything? I mean, obviously, I think we're both in agreement on the logic thing, but was there anything else for you that was like a big takeaway here? And then I want to ask the audience the same thing. Let's see if there's anything. Would definitely love to be at NoCodeConf 2022.
Yeah.
Let's see. I wasn't that amazed with the Hopin platform on mobile. Would have been nice to had it on
Oh,
GatherTown. I didn't use Hopin on mobile. We talked about this a little bit in the GatherTown. We actually had, if you missed it, our GatherTown, like we had 30 to 40 people kind of in and out. Uh, people were popping in throughout the whole conference. That to me was like that was like the booth. That was like our conference booth, if you will, where people come by and chat and we had cool conversations. But we talked about this a little bit. GatherTown offers like this really cool personalized ability to kind of connect and chat with folks, where Hopin is a little more structured and it's a little more enterprise ready. I don't think Gather is capable enough for this type of event yet. I think it would
mm-mm.
have really left people, lacking. And I do know they explored some of those options at Webflow. It's just Gather's not there yet. Maybe in a year or two, the platform will be enterprise ready, but it's not yet ready for that. Um, let's see what else. Joe, yeah. So your takeaway? Anything else other than the
Yeah.
logic? Like,
You know, um, one that is not being talked about as much is the new direction for permissions.
mm,
The new direction for better structuring your team inside Webflow. This is a problem that we face daily at Finsweet, not being able to set the right permissions and invite people and uninvite people to projects.
yeah.
So to see those kind of updates and to see some of the screenshots we saw there, that was pretty exciting. That was definitely a big win for agencies. The team account's going to get more and more popular as these freelancers start to grow into agencies. Teams will grow. There'll be more need for the team account, and seeing those updates, I think, is a big win. A sleeper compared to the memberships and the logic, but a huge, huge win.
Yeah, and I think yeah, the teams in Webflow, they're changing the workspaces, right? So it's no
Mhm.
longer going to be like a personal account plan and a team account plan. It's going to be these workspaces. That is something yet to be seen. I don't know how that's all going to play out yet. I do know it's exciting to think about like can I invite somebody else to my workspace temporarily? Is it easier than adding
Yeah.
a team plan? It's all to be seen what the pricing is going to be. I think if somebody asked me like what my uh, what my thought was as a whole, like what kind of has me up in the air, it's how the pricing on all this is going to work out. I think we talked about this a
Mm.
little bit the other day. I'm not sure how they're going to price all of this stuff
Yeah.
moving forward. What is memberships going to do? Like how much are they going to charge for logic? How is it going to be charged per like workflow? Is it going to be charged for like data transfers, number of interactions? Like I don't know. These are all the things up in the air. So it's like as cool as it was to kind of see all of these products and things be announced, there's like this lingering thing in my head that's like, how are they going to price all this? Like,
There was no mention of it, nothing, right? I can't remember any mention of price or how this will be structured. So yeah, that's a big question. There are a lot of people that, may not be able to use some of these features because of price, but we'll see. There's so many options for how this can be priced and grouped. We could see a huge pricing overhaul. We could see these as add-ons. We could see some of them included. Who knows?
Yeah. Gabriel O is saying maybe it didn't trend NoCodeConf, but it got some haters talking about no code having to need code eventually. Um, yeah, I think probably a lot of people on Twitter must have seen like all this NoCodeConf stuff and the no code
Mhm.
hashtag, and this there's obviously a lot of I don't know. There's a lot of haters when when cars first came out. There's a lot of people that were putting shoes on horses, talking about how this will never catch on. Horses are way more versatile, and again, we know what happened there. So, yeah, there's always going to be haters. So,
Yeah.
Vimilan, loved your talk, Joe. So you're getting a little bit of love for your talk. Yeah, let us know in the
Thank
comments
you.
what was your
Thank
favorite
you.
part of No Code. Are we missing something with the Logic announcement? Yeah, let us know in the comments here. Vimilan saying Logic was really freaking cool. Never been so hyped for a software update since the early days of iOS. Yes.
Mm. And how about that motion graphics video?
Mm.
When for No Code Conf 1, they released this epic video and everybody is blown away by it, right? That video was just game changing. And now 2 years later, we have another conference and they beat their own video. That was really a wonderful production between the artwork, between the graphics, the whole entire keynote. But really, that visual side of it, the motion graphic side of it, was done wonderfully. And as we know, we're designers, we're creatives, we love this production value.
Yeah, and we're gonna play a little bit of it right here on the
Mhm.
screen. So, it's just hypnotic. This they carried on the visuals that they started with the No Code Conf intro a couple years ago. This little dot that's carrying you through the storyline, and um, yeah, I mean, whoever's doing these, I forget the name of the company that did these videos. I'm imagining they're continuing to work with that company, but the motion graphics they did on all of this was just spectacular. The production quality in
Mhm.
general was just great. So I will say that um, the No Code Conf TV, the stage that they built, the way that they kind of segued in between. I will say that some of it feels forced. Some of it felt forced because it's like all scripted, and so like there was times where I was just like, let them talk, like these guys know what they're talking about, like, and then it felt like they were reading off of prompters, and I was just like, so I get it, you have to balance like making sure the thing flows properly and that like everyone stays on track and their schedules met. But then there's also this part of me that like always loves just having casual conversation and like actually having real engagement. I think that's one thing that a lot of big companies kind of lose as they grow is that personal connection with their audience. And Webflow is like really powerful because of the community. And I think figuring out ways for them as they grow to foster those relationships and bring that stuff into these big events is really what's going to set them apart. They did that with like the speed building challenge. I think that was definitely
Mhm.
something that was let's go back to this thing. The speed building challenge was super exciting. Um,
Mhm.
I just I don't know how they get some of that other stuff into the experience, right? How do they get some of those little connection moments? How do they get some of those like personal touches? And again, it's all new format stuff, right? Like these type of virtual events just didn't exist before this, and so
Mhm.
yeah, lots of experimenting to do. Super super excited for how they pulled it off. It's hard to criticize something at that scale that they just pulled off. I think so. We're just kind of nitpicking around the edges here.
The well, I can always agree with the more natural side. I thought NCC-TV was excellent. I thought that everything centered around that was really nice. But yeah, there were a few times that it felt scripted, and I was also thinking, just let them talk because they're all pros. They'll know exactly what's going on. So yeah, that's absolutely I agree with that. And I wanna see more of this NCC TV. I don't think that this should only be a no code conference thing. I would love to see this quarterly or, monthly. Quarterly is I think, the right move. that could be a really nice way to engage with the community. So, yeah, I think a big win for that. In between the stages, in between when things weren't playing anymore, there was always something to watch.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and to be honest, that's it's funny that they were we're on the same track there with the NCC TV and what we were trying to do with the Finsweet TV thing. Obviously, they got way bigger budget and production and blah blah whatever. But the idea behind what we're trying to do here is, can we create more opportunities to be live and just have some commentary running while the thing's going on?
Mhm.
Can we loop some videos? Can we get other content creators in and sharing like some of their videos? And can we play some of those videos in real time while we give commentary? And can we do some of like exactly what they were doing there, create that atmosphere where there's always a place where people can come to learn about what's happening in the industry, to learn about what's happening with Webflow, to learn about what's happening with Finsweet, and just kind of keep that camaraderie alive. I don't know what the right format is for that. I don't know, like, do people get tired of it if you do it daily? Will people actually show up if you flood them with content? Or like, what's the timing? What's the right frequency for some of this stuff? And so that's kind of really the things we're thinking about. But it would be cool to see more of that regularly. And I think people are ready
Mhm.
for like uh, more of that speed building stuff as like a esport kind of thing. I think
Oh, yeah.
like my palms were sweaty watching them do that. I think outside of the logic and the keynote,
Yeah.
I think that the speed building challenge was my favorite part, watching everyone kind of compete and figure out, like this bracket and have like to build these things in 5 minutes or 8 minutes is like insane. And so like I was getting
Totally.
clammy just thinking about it. I couldn't imagine like being them.
That really should be regular. That needs to be regular. And one big recommendation I'll have is show both screens at the same time all the time. When you cut out some of that build, you miss some of the steps. And if you can actually watch the entire process from start to finish, it becomes an educational piece. So like these people were creating such wonderful things, but when you cut away from it for a second, you miss step 6, 7, 8, and 9, and now you don't know the full process. But if that's a monthly thing and we can see the full record of everybody, that now becomes a big education thing. Our palms are going to be sweating, just like Rymar says. I was also, me and my wife were palms on table, looking into the screen, rooting for these people. It was really a great experience.
Yeah, and we'll give a shout out to Elsa Omri here, who
Yeah.
took the whole thing down. There were some real magical experiences during this. If you didn't watch it, I for sure recommend you go back and kind of watch some of those highlights. Shout out to Harsh Shit as well on our team, who gave a valiant
Mhm.
effort, came in third. Tito Solano, who is a clone comp grand champ from this last year. And shout out to JP, who also made it into the finals there. It was a stellar effort from everyone involved. It was cool to kind of see the bracket evolve here. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. We've experimented with some
Yeah.
of this. Actually, it's funny because we did a speed build challenge at the first NoCodeConf, but it wasn't during the conference. It was the day after when Webflow invited some folks from the community to HQ, and we all did like the speed build challenge on a screen. And it was like the first time I'd ever seen something like this go down. Shout out to Nelson for kind of innovating on
Yeah.
that format. And so we started then experimenting with the speed build challenge, which then eventually led to Clone Comp. And so we've done 2 years of Clone Comp, and there were pieces of this that I saw, and like you can just kind of see something forming. I'd like to see who takes the next innovation or iteration of this. We have talked about and played around with doing some like heads up design competitions and some heads up like challenges for folks. So I don't know how this is all going to play out, but again, we're experimenting with the content. Would love to hear from you all what you like to see, what you thought about some of that speed build stuff, thoughts for how you might improve it. Let's take a minute and look at the comments here because we do have quite a few comments coming in. Let's see. Is there a place to watch NoCodeConf videos now other than opening keynote? Can't find anything online. I missed some of the parts of the conf. Matan is asking. Yeah, a lot of the stuff is available. I don't exactly know where. Kyle or somebody from Webflow who's in touch with that, maybe you can get those links to folks. Let's see. Richard's saying, I never seen, I got to imagine on their YouTube channel, the stuff is probably up there too. I did see a bunch of those on YouTube. I don't know how that is all working out, but Richard's saying, I never seen the first conference, so this was my first experience. It inspired me so much to peruse my mini Webflow Studio goals. Also, thanks to your talk, Joe, and the Finsweet videos each week. Nice.
Awesome.
Penny saying, no code has grown immensely since the first conference, and there are more people with great experience and knowledge to share. Yeah, 100%, Penny. I agree with that. Let's see. The videos are all online. Mark Tiedman saying, yeah, when you click on any of the session, there's the video. Okay, so you can go to the agenda and you can see the videos there. Vimalan saying,
Nice.
damn, I want to hear Ray's story as a talk now. Yeah, we've gone into some of that, but yeah, I don't know that my talk's probably like you got to sign a waiver. I don't think my talk will meet Webflow's community guidelines. That's just real talk right there, y'all. Well, at least the talk I might be able to give on that stage wouldn't. But if you catch me over a beer at the next NoCodeConf or whatever, one thing, Joe, and this may be foreshadowing for what we've been talking about internally. I saw somebody the other day. I think it was David Hoang, the design lead at Webflow, the head of design
Yes.
at Webflow,
Mm-hmm.
said something about doing a Webflow maker retreat at Joshua Tree. And we've been throwing around this, like Europe thing internally. But I think that'd be cool. I think, like doing some bigger events where we like get people in person, and maybe Vimalan, that's where we'll share some of those stories. I don't know that the internet's the right place for
Nice.
some of that stuff just yet. Riley's saying, one piece that I was pretty significant that deserved more attention was the improvements of performance. Yeah, they did
Yeah.
mention that. Joe, you want to chat on that a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. There is a nice, juicy improvement to how Designer works with collections and collection items in your project. So, as many people know, with big projects, the bigger your project gets, the slower Designer can get. It has a lot of items, a lot of things going on, and there may be a delay in using Designer. This upgrade is going to much improve that load experience in Designer. When you click something, how fast it reacts. When you load new pages, how fast Designer reacts. And that's a nice big upgrade to how Designer communicates with the CMS in your project.
Yeah.
So that's a nice win. We've been testing that out for like a week now, and it absolutely helped us. It made one of our projects go from not really usable to a sense that it just took a lot of time to do everything, and it was frustrating, to now we're actually working with this. We're back to our normal workflow, clicking on things, adding things. So that's a nice one. I mean, these are all great features we're talking about, but something that actually improves your day to day in the product, that is a big, big win.
Yeah, think if it saves
Absolutely.
you 10 seconds or 5 or 8 seconds
Yeah.
every time you reload the screen or every time you jump to a new page, you could save hours over the course of a month. You could literally
Yeah.
save so much time. And so those little things are kind of, they go under the radar a little bit from like a wow standpoint, but I think they are super
Mhm.
important to the future of the platform. We all expect the internet to kind of move super fast. And one of the things we get excited about with Webflow is that how fast the pages load, like on the front end. But I think bringing some of that to the back end too will for sure improve that experience and make us all a lot happier as we use the tool. So let's see. NCC TV going forward has possibilities for sure. Dale Jensen saying Penny saying NCC should be a regular feature for sure.
Mhm.
Agreed. A regular NCC TV will be awesome. Andrea Morgan. I will say that the hardest part about that is the production. Like, I don't think y'all understand the amount of time that went in for them to produce that, the amount of rehearsals they must have had,
Yeah.
the stage design. They got camera operators. They got people managing the stream. I mean, you all see it all the time here on the stream where we have a little technical hurdle or something doesn't work perfect or, there's a little delay between whatever or, I know there's a million things that can go wrong with something like that. So I can see why it's challenging to maybe do that at that level all the time without, again, someone taking ownership and just doing the thing. So Let's see. Webflow Esports would be stellar. Nelson's energy was so infectious. Perfect host for it. Yeah, I agree, Jeremy.
Yeah, Nelson killed it. I thought absolutely gave that really positive vibe all throughout NCC TV. Yeah, I got to give a +1 on that one. And yeah, if you liked what Nelson did, if you liked all of those initiatives for that, say it. Tell Webflow.
Yeah,
Be vocal about this, because the more that we tell them what we like, the more they're going to do that. So if we love NCC TV, let's make it known. That was awesome.
that's right. Don't make
Yeah.
that too known
So
because then we might have a
not
hard time building our TV thing. But no, I'm kidding. We are experimenting though, and would love to figure out like if you have a story to tell, if you have something to show, if you have something to share, like we are, we're dedicated to like making the next step of our community building efforts kind of being a staircase for other folks to step up in their Webflow careers, right? So one of the
Mhm.
reasons we started the Growth Show about a year ago was to kind of share some of the knowledge and to be able to create a venue for Joe and I to share intellectually the things we know to maybe help boost people's Webflow development. The next step is like, can we take some of this infrastructure? Can we take some of this web activity, some of this exposure engine, some of these tools, some of this community stuff that we're doing, and use it as a ladder for other people to kind of step up and actually take steps up. And so we're experimenting with ways to bring other folks into that. And so it's starting with the Gather. It's starting with our events committee. We're doing a lot of things on the back end with that. But if you're out there and you're doing something, you want to get more involved, you're doing a YouTube something, you want to get a little bit more visibility. I don't know how much we can guarantee visibility, but we're open to collaborations. So, we can figure something out. We can find ways, and we're always open to like working with folks in the community to again, help shine light on all the good stuff that's happening in this space. So that's something for sure that we want to share some of our efforts on. So let's see. Go ahead, Joe.
And something new on the community side from Finsweet is attributes.
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about this. We released attributes on day 1 of NoCodeConf, and this is a community effort for Finsweet. This is part of our effort to help grow the community, grow the way that you build in Webflow, grow the way or improve the way that you can make custom things on your website, and that's attributes.
Yeah.
The launch went so well. Everything went as planned. We were ready with everything. Yes. Big round of applause to the team. Every single thing that we wanted to launch with it went launched. Nothing went unfinished. There are no major problems. We haven't heard any negative things about the system yet. Everybody is really positive about it. Go and check out the YouTube comments on the official announcement video. If you did not see that big official announcement video, go check it out. It explains everything about this and why we did this. So this is, yeah, it's huge. I'm so excited about it.
I also noticed there was like a little refresh on the directory here. I went and looked, and the way these are lined up are now sortable. You can kind of, click through and see some of that in action. And then the docs just kind of explains everything real nicely and easily for each example, shows you how it's implemented. Joe, I think this coming Tuesday, we should do a deep dive into attributes, maybe get someone on and do like a quick little implementation, something. Maybe we can dissect a couple of those filters that we built. So maybe that'd be the right way. A couple of those filter examples that we put together for this release. Maybe we can go in and dive in and show folks exactly how that's implemented, how much easier it is. It actually would be interesting to take an old CMS library project and do a conversion to show how simple that can be done, and how to add some of this functionality and really showcase the power of attributes. Because it's fun to say, everyone sees, okay, Finsweet's doing something new. Okay, that's exciting, but how? And so I think like we typically do, we will spend some time really showcasing this work and explaining how that kind of really help you improve your Webflow workflows.
Would love to do that Tuesday. We'll pick a nice walkthrough. We'll go step by step implementing something that we don't have any video for. Maybe some CMS sliders, CMS tabs. That's always a nice topic.
Yeah.
So write that in for Tuesday.
Yeah, I think,
And yes, we're also going to be rebuilding our Showcase 2K example with CMS Library. We're going to be running some speed tests so that you can make a
mm,
good decision about your stack, what you're using to power features on your Webflow site. So we're going to rebuild it in CMS Library. We'll look at the difference. We'll look at how much code is needed for CMS Library. We'll look at the implementation for attributes, and we will go and review those speed tests together. We're really motivated to, to giving you a firm understanding of what you're using on your site, understand the technology behind it, how it works, why we've built certain features for you, for Webflow specifically.
yeah. Yeah, and watch those videos if you haven't already. The launch
Mhm.
videos, the intro to attributes. It was really helpful for me to kind of understand what was going on to watch that video, and why the performance issues make so much sense, and also why this is going to allow us to do so much more moving forward. I think this is like it's the same thing Webflow is doing with like re-architecting the back end, where like it's going to allow them to do a lot more once they kind of flip that switch. This was a moment like that too, where now the functionality that we have, like some of the CMS library features didn't work nicely with each other. They didn't play real nice. So you had to like use one and maybe hack it together with another, but like sometimes you get some buggy stuff. With the attributes, like those issues are no longer present, right? You can
Yeah.
use multiple of these attributes in one place, and you don't have to worry so much about those conflicts with with what was happening before. So again, it's just it's a step forward. I think where we'll really be excited about this is next year when we see the library of functionality and things that we've released
Mm.
in attributes. And so again, mark this as a moment where a year from now we'll be looking back right around when we hit 100 episodes on the on the growth show, as to what all we've been able to do with this attributes system. So
Maybe we'll have more attributes than growth episodes. I
hey,
think it's possible. The way that we build attributes is modular. We have a core package, and all of the different attribute solutions can use that core package. So CMS filter can talk to the core package. The CMS select talks to the core package. Auto video talks to the core package, and we can attach anything we want to that core package, the brain of attributes.
mm,
And we have all of these functionalities that are able to be built very quickly separately from one another. So there was a comment on one of the videos asking why we broke everything up into individual scripts. Why is CMS load different from CMS filter?
mm,
It's for performance. It's for this modular feel. It's for being able to create very new things very quickly. So I think we're going to see this attributes list grow very fast. And we really want to get to a point where when you need something custom on your site, the first place you're looking is attributes.
yeah.
That should be the first point of, hey, I need to do something that Webflow can't handle natively.
And
That's our goal with this.
And ideally, that will all happen right in the designer through the extension. So again, if you're not
Yeah,
using the
we see.
extension while you're building, having access to all those features and tools right there, that's going to be like ground zero for how we bring all of this stuff in and make it part of a seamless experience building in Webflow. So that's exciting to be sure. I did want to bring up one thing real quick because we do have opportunity for the community to get in and kind of tell us what they'd like to see with those products. And so if you go to finsweet.com/vote, you can see a couple different categories here. We've got products, right? So the attributes that we just mentioned is here, and you can submit and create items here to vote on, and also on content. So on both things, we got products and content here that you can share your thoughts about what you'd like to see us focus our attention on. And this is kind of be the hub for how we make decisions moving forward is what is the community looking for? What do they want to see? And we'll, like the request will come in, we'll assign like a difficulty score to it. We'll vote on it internally. We'll add ideas, the community can vote. And so this is kind of going to be the hub for folks to just share what they'd like to see us focus on. Joe, any thoughts on the voting stuff?
Yeah, you can go back to that. It works. It has a bit of a slower load right now, but we can bring up this list and you can see how it looks. You'll see that we have some live items that are shipped. These are things that we released the other day. And then we have some active voting things that we've added in there and that we've heard from the community. So as we get to, yeah, we have tooltips, migrate Finsweet class adder, design video embed player. The voting is fairly low now. Get your votes in. It could be make a big impact
Right.
to what functionality we do next.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to a point where we pull our next features direct from this list. Not in the very beginning. We're going to build the things that we need for our client projects, but we'll get to a point where, hey, we may not need this at Finsweet, but other people do. So we're going to build it because a lot of people are asking for it. So this is the beginning of this, but we're going to be very serious about our vote system. All of our products will be attached to vote so that we can really hear and react to what you want us to do.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Let's take a look at the comments here and see what anyone's saying. Oh, Bailey in the house again. What's up? Oh, wow, that would be incredible. Like Epicureans for Webflow. Yeah. And then Mirella says, "Did I hear Europe?" Yes, you did hear Europe. Stay tuned for that. But before Europe, there's probably going to be a meetup in Atlanta. So if you're in the Atlanta area, I think it's going to be either December 8th or 9th. We will be doing some event in Atlanta. And then, as we go, we're gonna try to do more of these things in person, meetups, different stuff like that. Let's see. Jeremy's saying, I would love a deep dive into attributes for sure. Penny's saying same thing. Yes, a deep dive would be excellent. Okay, let's plan on that Tuesday. So Tuesday, 100%, we're going to do a deep dive into attributes for everyone who wants some of that. Let's see. Richard saying, I thought Vlad's talk with Trevor was awesome too. Surprisingly, I did as well. I'm not the biggest fan of Trevor. I do appreciate his earlier comedy. I'm not as big a fan of his news commentary and whatnot, but I do think the conversation was relevant. Yeah, it's cool to hear both their stories, Vlad and Trevor, talking about this stuff. I think what we're seeing from Webflow in this initiative, in my mind, is trying to reach out to a broader audience, trying to get the mainstream folks into no code, like which to me is a challenge, right? Because it's hard enough getting technical folks to understand like new layers of complexity and the technical stuff. But what this is doing, what the no code thing is doing, is opening up the technical world for people who are not traditionally technical minded, right? I call myself a non-traditional entry into the tech world, background, upbringing, etc. I never thought I'd be in tech, quote unquote, let alone building tech. And so in my mind, that part of the conversation was cool to see how that's opening up, to see how people are perceiving it, to see how this creatively will evolve. So for sure, I agree with that. Joe, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I want to think that there were a lot of people inspired by that talk, and maybe started using Webflow because of that talk.
Yes.
And for me, that's a big win. So yeah, I also was impressed by the talk, the topic, the way that it related to our industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that was a good move. It attracted the right people, and really growing this platform past the core people who are already here for a very long time.
Yeah. Yeah. And when they announced that, I wasn't immediately like, it wasn't immediately obvious to me how they were going to connect that to like
Right.
no code and Webflow. But like you just said, Joe, it did. Um, yeah, it was great. Honestly, like the more people come and play in the space, and I think the more the platforms evolve, the more no code evolves, and the more people get into this space, like the more exciting it's going to be and the better solutions we'll get. Right now, to build
Mhm.
software solutions, like you got to be pretty technically minded, right? And you got to know a lot, right, to build something from scratch and to solve problems. And a lot of the people that do those things come from elite institutions, or it's kind of they talk about this all the time with like 2 out of 400 or however many people out of 400, like not a lot of people knowing how to code, and the barrier that
Mhm.
creates for problem solving. um, I I am excited to see what happens when you put digital problem solving in the hands of people who are closer to the problems, right? A lot of the software that we build and interact with comes from places like San Francisco or New York or wherever, right? These big hubs, and sometimes these become echo chambers, and they're not necessarily connected to the people on the ground who are doing the work. Whereas a lot of what's happening with the no code stuff is directly connected to the ground level, right? It's some small community solving a problem that they have. It's a local neighborhood building a thing. It's a small business automating parts of their processes. And again, these solutions come a lot closer to the ground level, which means, that they have more of an impact to the people who are using those things. And it's also making it viable to create software at a smaller scale, right? Before, to make viable software, you had to spend lots and lots of money because you had to create software for like a broad pool of people, and you needed millions of users, and you had to grow the platform to be able to sustain the software development efforts. Whereas no code now allows folks to build software for 100 people or for 50 people or for 1,000 people, whatever. And it now becomes economically viable to build software for smaller groups, which again, who knows, what the impact of that will have over time, and who knows where the next big thing scales out of something like that, something that started in a, Webflow logic flow thing that then evolves into a full production software that gets funded, and then you could build a real team around it. And I don't know, Joe, any thoughts about it? That
Very powerful. Putting that power in the hand of that end user, of the people actually running the business. One of the reasons why we transitioned away from design at Finsweet is because a lot of times I feel like the person who is right there running the business knows the business the best. It's hard to come in as a designer or a creative and say, I understand your business. I understand the problems that your customers have because I've just been researching it for 2 or 3 weeks. I think that that person really knows, even if they don't know how to express it and talk about it, they're the ones that know the best.
mm,
So if this software can get to a point where these people can actually do what they need to do, express what they need to express, that is going to be powerful, putting that power in those people's hands.
yeah.
So yeah, this, we're happy about it for us, but if they can really make this no code to the point where anybody can use it, that I think is very close to their mission as a company.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we probably need to temper our expectations a little bit over the next year or two as this stuff evolves, just like we have
Yep.
with Webflow over the last couple years, right? Like, this stuff is going to take time to figure out and to build out fully. And as much as we just want Bubble and Webflow to meet and to be able to have all the functionality on the back end that Bubble has and all the front end functionality that Webflow has, and just use a tool like that, it just doesn't exist yet, right? And so what we're seeing is that the tools that give you a lot of power on the back end make it a little difficult on the front end. And even with, like Bubble's responsive app engine, it's, it's tough, and you see it and you're like, okay, like when I saw that announcement, I was like, all right, Webflow's still got room here to play. Like, they're not going to catch them on the front end. The question is, can Webflow catch up on the back end, and how long is that going to take?
Right.
But I think we're all kind of itching for that. We all want that. We all see where it's headed. And I know I'm very impatient when it comes to this stuff. And I'm like, I want it now. I want a goose that lays a golden egg now, daddy. And so, but it doesn't work like that, right? You got to
Yeah.
wait, and you got to let it evolve. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think the takeaway here is that the future of no code looks bright. I'm super bullish on no code. And I'm excited to see how this all plays out. Let's see if Jose Arce is saying, I like that analogy that Trevor Noah made. You don't need to be an engineer to drive a car. Same with no
Yeah.
code tools. Yeah, right. And
Yeah.
right now you have to build, anything viable online, you have to be an engineer. So that was a good point for sure. Joe, any other major thoughts as it relates to any of this stuff here? Come to Chicago. We're getting requests to stop in certain cities. Come to Chicago, but wait until spring. Yeah,
Nice.
I'm not trying to do much more of the Midwest. It's already too cold for me here in Columbus.
Yeah, I just overall really happy. I don't have anything more specific to say other than just happy how all this came together.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I would like to say thank you to people who came to my speaking session. That was very cool. I was in the background of the speaking session. I was talking to the people running the show about the Q&A. I was looking at the questions. I was reading the comments, and it was great. I loved the energy in there. I loved everybody, their really kind words. So yeah, big thank you to everybody who showed up for that.
Yeah, the chat was lit. I don't
Yeah,
think I saw as much chat activity in any other talk I was in than the chat during your talk. It was like just ripping. Um,
nice.
and it's one of those things, Joe, and I think we just do this in general at Finsweet because I think it's in our blood. You, me, the other people on the team, like we're just can't, like we're just open. Like we don't bullshit. Like I don't bullshit, right? Like, and sometimes it gets me
It's
into
true.
trouble, right? Because it's like I'm too just straightforward with folks, and that rubs people the wrong way, or that comes off as aggressive sometimes. But I I continue to operate like that because I think it's better for society that we're straightforward with this stuff, right? The passive aggressive or the backhanded stuff or the pretending to be something else to your face that you're not. And I think that comes out into our work, right? And so people appreciate that authenticity. This is what I was talking about earlier, going back to like Webflow and these big corporate events. This is what you got to make sure you don't lose, right? Like that level of authenticity where people feel connected to the product. And so when Joe goes on the NoCodeConf stage and gives a talk that's super real about the path he took to get to where he gets, and you see this talk, like people appreciate that, right? And it makes them feel like, oh, I could do this, right? There's just, and your path may not be the same, but people connect with that. And that's where I worry about, some of this stuff. And again, you won't see it from us because Joe and I are both, super straight shooters. And I think everyone on the team is too. Like we're just,
Yeah.
that's just how we are. So I don't know, Joe, any thoughts on that?
Well, thank you. That was really nice to hear. Yeah, the speech was made to be educational, and I think a great way to educate people is through stories. So one of the goals through that was tell the story and make it as exciting as possible. Like what can we do to this in the message and the delivery and the visuals to just make people happy,
Mm,
to make people smile, make people really enjoy looking at it. And we do that a lot at Finsweet. Everything that we do gets that same type of treatment. How can we get people really excited about what this is right here?
yeah.
And I was just so happy with it. Those slides, the way that they were designed.
Shout out to
Shout out to
Sergey because
Sergey. Yeah, that really, really, I think took it to the next level. I was really happy with the content of it, but to pair it with those visuals, he blew me away. And yeah, I think there's a lot of people on our team like that.
yeah.
He was direct. He did exactly what he wanted. He didn't follow my directions. I gave him very specific directions about what to do for the slides. He didn't follow them, and he did his own thing. And I was very, very pleasantly surprised with that
Yeah.
because he did what he wanted. He kind of stood up for his idea there.
Yeah. Corey Reynolds is saying here, what really stuck with me was work with people better than you, from your talk, Joe.
Mm. Yeah.
Um, and I agree with that. I think that's one thing that I recognized from Joe early when I came on and when we were talking about like his approach to some of this. Actually, I think maybe even one of the interviews I did with you before I came onto the team, you said something about how you like selected talent and that you were looking for someone that does one thing better than you do, and that's kind of how you like just we're building this thing, right? It's like we have this puzzle here, and hey, I know I'm really good at this, but there's this other thing that I'm not really good at, and if we found somebody who was way better at this thing than me, we could do like more as a whole. And then slowly
Yeah.
you start bringing more pieces into that little puzzle, and eventually you have this team of people that are just really talented doing kind of independent things that somehow all come together to create this product. And I think we're all excited about this. Like when you see the chats and when you talk with people on the team, like we're all so excited about Webflow and this whole no code thing that it's hard not to have that reveal itself in the product or in the work that we do. And again, I think that's why people like and connect with what we're doing, because there isn't that polish, there's not that pretense that, we're just talking about shit that we don't know. Like we're in the trenches. We're all
Yeah.
doing this. We all use it. We all like just are in the middle of this. And I think that's what comes out in the talk, in the stuff.
Absolutely. We are true deep product advocates, and to the point where that's how we make our living. Every person on the team feels a connection to Webflow for earning money, for supporting themselves. And once you get into that, the passion starts to come, right? This isn't just some side application that helps me do some small thing. It's the base of how I support myself. So through that, the passion just overflows. And that's where we see such a powerful community. That's not just a Finsweet, that's all throughout the community, this intense passion because we have this deep connection to this application. That's how I look at it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that's, again, it becomes apparent in all the work. It's hard not to see that,
Yeah.
Sergey is from year 2051. Harshit says,
Yeah.
people want stickers. Joe, we gotta like maybe throw a sticker pack and send that the sticker mule of the Joe Finsweet stickers. That would be funny. And put them on the stream case. Let people put them on the laptops. Let's see. Next time, I really want to see Rymars while speaking at NoCodeConf. Yeah, I love doing public speaking. I get plenty of that. I do enjoy speaking at conference and events like that. So I definitely, I'd be open to that opportunity. Mirella saying straightforward is the only way for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
That was an excellent point. Michael Rose, I'm not sure which point he's talking to, but okay, I think that's most everything that we wanted to cover today. Anything else from the crowd or Joe on your head that you think? I know one final thing. Share this video. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, or at least leave a like. There's 52 of you watching right now. 24 likes on the video. Would love to see that like count pop up as we go. That really helps us with the YouTube algorithm. And I'd be interested to know what you all want to see from us. We do have this vote thing up. We have this content thing up, but maybe just in the comments right now, like, would you like to see these more frequently? Would you like? I mean, is once a week okay? Is the Tuesday stream with the Thursday workshop okay? Like, would we be open to do more? Do you want to see interviews? Right? Like, would you be interested in seeing us bring other folks on to chat? I don't know. Hire someone better than you. Oh, that was an excellent point. Hire
Nice.
someone. I thought he was talking about the stream. He's like, what was that? Hold up, I can see if I hit the right one. Next, maybe better luck next time, player. Okay, so yeah, we're open to the feedback. We'd like to know where we can take this. We are in the middle of restructuring. I am switching the streaming software, so that's one of the reasons we aren't able to pull the comments up on screen. Is I was tied up working on these graphics to get them to where they are, but fundamentally changing the entire way we manage these streams to make them a little more versatile moving forward. And so, again, any feedback y'all have, we're open to taking it. But I think that's it. I think that's where we'll leave it for today. We're right at about an hour.
Awesome.
What do you think, Joe? A little gather hang or no?
I am
Jet
not
time?
going to do the gather hang.
Yeah.
I said since Monday or Tuesday that after this stream, I'm going to have lunch and I'm done.
Take the day off.
So I'm taking the rest of the day off, doing full weekend off, and coming back ready to make moves on Monday.
Yeah, that's probably the right move. I agree. I will end with one other thing. If you're watching this, if you're in the community, whether you're live right now or in the future watching this, we're open to collaborate, right? The gather space that we're building has room to grow. We've already got people claiming their land in this little no-code village that we're building. I'm not going to bring it up right now, but the goal is that in March, when we do the global open house again, because we're going to do that event again in March online in the gather space, the goal is that when we launch that event and when we do the next step of this thing, that we have a bunch of folks from the community in that space kind of owning parts of this, right? So if you're running a meetup, if you're doing something exciting, if you'd like to start a meetup, if you'd like to get involved with any of that, I don't even have Colleen. Maybe we can share the Airtable link in the comments. But just leave us a comment, join the Slack channel, get involved, because we're really looking to take that to the next level, and we'd like to do that again as not just Finsweet. We want to do that as a community of Webflow enthusiasts, and so we're inviting you all to kind of join us in that process. Other than that, I think we'll leave it at that.
Great.
That's it.
Okay. Everybody have a great rest of the day, great weekend, big success. Celebrate the success of the event, celebrate your own success. And yeah, thank you, everybody. Really, thank you for checking out this recap stream.
All right. Talk soon. Bye.